Hello, this is Ben Kruger with Old School Manufacturing, maker of the Weed Zapper. Hey, we're going to do a short video here on the operation and different features of your control monitor that's located inside your tractor. This is basically telling you the heartbeat of your Weed Zapper, exactly what's going on, and trying to help you understand why it works or why it doesn't work. So I want to point out a few different things here on your monitor. Number one, this is a monitor that should be in your peripheral vision. This is not something that you want to place in the back corner of the cab, out of sight, out of mind, because when it beeps at you, it's trying to tell you something important. So I'm not asking you to put it directly in your vision, but put it in your peripheral vision. That way you can keep an eye on it. So we're going to point out a couple different things on it. We have a 10 amp fuse with an indicator light. If this fuse is bad or blown, the indicator light will be on. If the fuse is good, the indicator light will be off. We have our USB port. This is for installing a programming update with a USB stick. So the way you would do that would be power up the monitor, plug in the USB stick, and then follow the promptings on the screen. So we'll go ahead and plug that in here. We would select updates after we plug that in and follow the promptings on the screen if we were going to do a programming update, but we're not. So a couple different things about your monitor. This is the model of machine that you're operating. This is the amperage range or max amp range that system is capable of handling. This is the monitor version of programming, the computer version of programming. If you'll notice the last two numbers in front of the period, those indicate the year of machine that you are operating with. So if this was a 2019, this would read 19. If this was a 2020, it would read 20, so on and so forth. So obviously, we are operating a 22 model machine. One more thing on our screen here, this is what we call our home screen. We also see that we have the option to change languages. We can change from English to French or Spanish. I'm going to stay in English. We'll go ahead and advance to the next screen at this point by hitting the right arrow. We have our safety instructions with an I agree button. You will notice above the I agree button it says press for 1 second. The reason it says press for 1 second is because this is one computer. Our screen here is one computer, but there's a second computer located inside the control panel in the back right hand corner of your Weed Zapper unit behind you. We have what we call scan cycles, where this computer is communicating with the computer in the back. So if we only bump the I agree, every once in a while we'll happen to hit between a scan cycle. So if we press for 1 second, then it will always give the computers time to recognize the command. So this one will always recognize it, even if I just bump it. However, if it happens to be between scan cycles, the one in the back may not recognize the command. The computer in the cart may not recognize the command. So we want you to press for 1 second. Press and hold till the screen changes. We have our operating instructions. Once again, once you've read all of this, and you agree to continue, go ahead and press and hold for 1 second. Next, we have our bar indication. As indicated on the first screen, we are operating with a 16R30, which would typically have a 5-section folding or flex wing bar. You can see that is what is selected. You can see it's indicated in green. If I wanted to change because I'm using a different bar on this system, I would press and hold for 1 second, and it would be indicated by a green light. However, I am going to use this for demonstration purposes. So we'll go back, press and hold for 1 second. This is a good time to go ahead and point out. If there's an acknowledge button on the screen, if there's a warning, if there's anything like that, if you press the acknowledge button and it does not work, there's not something wrong with your system. It's because we want you to slow down and read what we're trying to tell you. So there is a 1 second delay, and that's to make sure that the operator understands what we're trying to tell them before advancing to the next screen. So once again, there's a lot of acknowledgement screens that have a 1 second delay. Press the acknowledge button for 1 second and hold. Hitting the screen will not do any good. It's a matter of pressing and holding. We'll advance on. This is our horsepower limitation screen. This is especially important in model years 2021 and newer. Previous to that, this did not have as much control, but in 2021 models and newer, this has an enormous amount of control. Basically, we can limit your Weed Zapper system to require less horsepower from your tractor. So your Weed Zapper system, 2021 or newer, anytime your PTO RPM drops below 960 PTO RPM, the system will automatically derate itself to require less power from the tractor. This allows the tractor to keep up. If you, as an operator, feel like it's pulling the tractor too hard, you can select a different horsepower setting. By doing this, you will limit the amount of power that the system is pulling or requiring from your tractor. So we're going to stay at the 305 horsepower. We'll go on and advance to the next screen. This is our weed selection screen. We have low weeds, broadleaf, grass. This is for low weeds that are less than knee high. They're typically very lush weeds. They're very conductive. They kill very well. But even more importantly than that, they are close to the earth itself. Especially if we have a higher moisture content in the earth itself, which is typical in the spring months or in the earlier months of the year before the sun has really cooked the moisture out, we can see arcing to the earth itself. Whenever we see that arcing to the earth itself, that's very hard on the windings of the generator and other portions of the electronics on the machine. So it's up to the operator. You, as the operator, when you see that arcing or surging, you need to go back to a different setting. Basically, we have low, medium, and high. You will typically see the surging to the ground on these two settings. If you see the surging to the ground and you're running on the grass, the second pass grass, go back to the broadleaf. If you see the surging to the ground on the broadleaf, go back to the low weeds. If you see the surging to the ground on the low weeds, raise your bar up. The system cannot predict this is going to happen. It can react after it does, but it cannot react fast enough to not have the possibility of damaging the system. So you, as the operator, you have eyes. It is up to you to watch and see when you see that big lightning bolt going to the earth itself. The Weed Zapper is designed to zap weeds, not zap the earth. So pay attention. We'll advance on to the next screen. Okay, here we have our safeties over here on the right-hand side of our screen. Our right wing, our left wing, which would be on our flex wing bar. A rigid bar would have right speed, left speed. Our speed is not satisfied. Our RPM is not satisfied. Our seat is satisfied because we're sitting in it. We have our advanced button, our running hours, and this is hours of actually zapping weeds, not just when the PTO is on, not when the monitor's on, but only when actually zapping or contacting weeds. We are asking for a wing switch test to make sure that our wing sensors are working. We have a mile per hour indicator, a generator RPM indicator to the left, a PTO indicator to the right, our kill rate, which indicates the voltage to the front bar, and these will change colors depending on the load being put on the system. We'll explain that momentarily. Our generator temp 1, our generator temp 2. You see right now we're showing two different temperatures. This is not uncommon. This is because sometimes we see hot spots. That's why we run multiple temperature sensors so that we make sure to get an average of the two. In order to do our wing switch test as being requested, I reference page C3. Once again, page C3 of your operator's manual. There are two locks that fold down on top of the hydraulic cylinders. So basically, get in your system, let your wings down, look at page C3, put your wing locks on top of the hydraulic rams for either cylinder, get back in the tractor. Once you're on this screen, go ahead and satisfy the wing switch test by raising the wings to contact the hydraulic cylinder stops. Okay, so now we see our green wings, so they are satisfied at this point. Our speed is not satisfied, our RPM is not satisfied. We are still in a disabled state because we have not seen speed or RPM. So we're going to go ahead and look at our 20-second manual RPM bypass. Whenever we hit our 20-second manual RPM bypass, if our PTO is on and up over 1000 PTO RPM, it will be indicated after pressing this button. So I'm going to hit our button and we see our PTO RPM come up at that point. We're going to go ahead and indicate speed at this point. Now we see our mile per hour range coming up. If you are running in an older tractor, as a courtesy, we have made it so that you can monitor your speed by pressing NPH. You put your finger there, hold it there for 2 seconds, and you will see a speed indicated. This is not exact, but it is a reference point if you're running an older tractor that does not have speed indication on it. Once again, this is a courtesy to you, our customer. Okay, so we see we still have a gray screen here on our kill rate. We're not running any amps. Why are we not running any amps? We're not running any amps because we're not touching any weeds yet. We are not zapping. The system is ready to be turned on. However, it has not been turned on. Turning on of the system requires pressing the green start button. This can be momentarily pressed, and it's indicated on the screen when it does. We'll watch them do it here. Momentary press, Zapper is running. We're going to hit our stop button. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the auto start feature that is available on model years 2020 and newer. Once again, this is available on model years 2020 and newer. So we're going to turn off our speed for training purposes here. Our light goes red. Okay. Now I'm going to press and hold our start button for 2 seconds, 2 full seconds. May seem like 3 seconds, but 2 full seconds. So I'll press and hold 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. We now see auto start active. You can hear the monitor beeping at you. This will stay active for 20 seconds. At this point, once the system recognizes all safety satisfied within that 20-second period, it will automatically turn itself on. This has to be recognized within the 20-second period. We're going to put it back in auto start. We'll satisfy our speed, show you what we mean. Auto start is active. Watch our speed light there. Speed is recognized. Zapper is on. Okay, now I'm going to make a couple changes here to the settings of our unit for training purposes. So here we see that our kill rate is green. When the system is seeing a voltage to the front bar that will result in good weed kill, and by that I mean killing the weeds into the root, then we would see this bar green. However, if the system is overloaded because of too many weeds or too small a tractor, then we would see this turn to different colors. So I'm going to make an adjustment or two here. Okay, now we see a yellow bar. This means that we have a marginal kill rate. This is due to the system being overloaded. Once again, this changes with our different weed selections. This voltage set point changes, but it's always adjusted automatically by the computer. The best kill rates will be indicated by a green light or green kill rate bar. The worst will be indicated by a red bar. At this point, what we would end up seeing would be brownout. That's where the top of the plant is killed, but the bottom of the plant still remains green and alive. Basically, what that means is we did not have enough voltage, which is pressure, to push our current, which is volume, into the root system and kill the plant. We simply browned out the top of it because of low voltage. That is indicated by the red kill rate light. We see that our average amps are still in the green. If our system is overloaded, then you would see this change colors as well, yellow and red. So I'm going to make a change here. You see our number changing. Now you'll see it turn to yellow when the system becomes overloaded, and as it becomes more overloaded, it turns to red. This means that the system eventually is going to be overloaded so hard that our temperatures will increase and we will have a reduced kill rate as well. So that's something that you want to pay attention to. Once again, green is good, yellow is marginal, red is bad. Okay, we're going to go ahead and advance to our next screen. So this is our diagnostic screen. If you have an issue with your weed zapper, you will need to call in to Old School Manufacturing, 660-851-8800, and ask to talk to Tech Service. If you call in, Ben, will ask you for a picture of this screen. Once again, this is the diagnostic screen. It is accessed by hitting the right arrow after your run screen. And before you take a picture, I'm going to ask you to press the yellow button until numeric displays are displayed. So this is very important. Please take a picture of this and text it to me or email it to me. If there's any active errors or history of errors, they will be indicated here. This will enable me to get you up and going faster because it gives me all the information that I need to see at my fingertips. Once again, this screen can be accessed while zapping or while the zapper is running. So right arrow, press and hold the yellow button for 2 seconds, snap a picture, send it to me at 660-620-3064, 660-620-3064. I hope this helps you understand what your weed zapper monitor is capable of. We'll go into more in depth on it, as far as different diagnostic features and different settings, different overloading. But this is just kind of a rough version here. We try to keep these videos short and sweet. If you have any questions, please give us a call. Have a blessed day. Thank you.